The story of Bob's Burgers begins long before the Belcher family ever set foot in their quirky little seaside restaurant. Its roots can be traced back to creator Laurent Bouchard's early career in animation, where he developed a style that mixed dry humor, awkward humanity, and a genuine affection for his characters. In the late 1990s, Bouchard co-created the cult series Home Movies alongside Brendan Small, which quickly earned a reputation for its loose, improvisational dialogue and offbeat charm. Home Movies featured H. John Benjamin as Coach McGuirk, a character whose gruff but oddly endearing voice would later become one of the most recognizable elements of Bob's Burgers. Before that, Bouchard had already made waves as part of the creative team behind Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, another unconventional animated comedy that thrived on conversation-driven humor, rather than slapstick or outrageous plots. These shows laid the groundwork for what Bouchard would later perfect with Bob's Burgers, a balance between humor, warmth, and the everyday struggles of imperfect yet lovable people. When Fox approached Laurent Bouchard in the late 2000s about developing a new animated sitcom, the television landscape was dominated by the giants of primetime animation. The Simpsons had already been on air for more than 2 decades. Family Guy had cemented itself as a pop culture juggernaut with its cutaway gags, and American Dad was offering its own satirical spin on family life. Bouchard was tasked with creating something that could stand alongside these heavyweights, while also carving out its own distinct identity. His earliest pitch for the show was darker than what fans eventually saw on screen. Originally, Bob's Burgers was envisioned as a series about a family that not only ran a burger joint, but also secretly cooked their customers into the patties, a concept that leaned heavily into cannibalism humor. Fox executives found the idea intriguing but too morbid for mainstream television. After some negotiation, the cannibal angle was dropped, but the idea of a struggling family-owned burger restaurant remained. This compromise gave birth to the foundation of what would become Bob's Burgers, a show that embraced humor, heart, and humanity, without leaning on shock value. Casting was one of the earliest and most important steps in shaping the show's identity. Bouchard returned to his roots and brought in H. John Benjamin to voice the lead character, Bob Belcher, whose weary, deadpan delivery became the cornerstone of the series. Bob was imagined as a hard-working but perpetually unlucky small business owner who constantly fought to keep his restaurant afloat. To balance Bob's grounded nature, Linda Belcher was created as his endlessly optimistic wife, brought to life by comedian John Roberts. Roberts had originally gained attention from viral YouTube videos where he performed exaggerated impressions of his mother, and that over-the-top yet loving energy became Linda's defining trait. Their 3 children were voiced by a mix of comedy veterans and rising stars. Kristen Schaal as the mischievous youngest child Louise, Dan Mintz as the monotone and socially awkward Tina, and Eugene Mirman as the eccentric middle child Gene. This voice cast, combined with Bouchard's vision, gave the show a dynamic range of personalities that immediately set it apart from other animated families on television. The animation style of Bob's Burgers also stood out in its early stages. Unlike the polished look of The Simpsons or the bold outlines of Family Guy, Bob's Burgers adopted a more awkward, almost hand-drawn appearance, with characters that had imperfect features, stiff movements, and expressive quirks. The visual style reflected the show's tone. It wasn't trying to present a glamorous or exaggerated version of family life, but rather something grounded, messy, and full of charm. The pilot episode, which aired in January 2011, introduced audiences to this unusual blend of humor and heart. Critics at first were uncertain about the show's identity, some pointing to its slower pacing and unconventional jokes as weaknesses, while others saw potential in the authenticity of its characters. The initial reception was mixed, but even early detractors recognized that the show had something different to offer compared to its more cynical contemporaries. The earliest episodes of Bob's Burgers leaned a little more heavily into adult humor than the series would later become known for. Jokes about cannibalism lingered in references, and the comedy often played with edgy or absurd scenarios. Over time, however, the writers began to discover that the strongest moments came not from pushing boundaries, but from focusing on the heartfelt dynamics of the Belcher family. The quirky yet wholesome relationships between Bob, Linda, Tina, Gene, and Louise resonated with viewers, especially those who were tired of the mean-spirited tone of other adult animated shows. By the end of its first season, Bob's Burgers had carved out a small but passionate fan base, and Fox decided to renew it, giving the series a chance to refine its voice.
Bob Belcher moving to Springfield and Homer Simpson running a burger joint would definitely be chaotic. It's a fun thought experiment that gets right to the heart of what makes Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons so different and so great. Both shows are beloved for their hilarious takes on family life, but they each bring a unique flavor of comedy to the table. Let's break down this battle of animated families. The families. Chaos versus cohesion. At the center of both shows are 2 families, The Simpsons and the Belchers, and their distinct approaches to chaos. The Simpsons is all about grand scale, often absurd, adventures. Homer, the lazy and goofy patriarch, constantly gets into schemes that threaten to upend the family's world. Marge acts as the grounded, calming force, trying to hold everything together. Their kids, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie, each embody a different form of rebellion and intellect, contributing to a family dynamic that's often strained but always finds a way to work out. The humor comes from their larger-than-life predicaments and how they navigate an equally absurd world. The Belchers are a much more tightly knit unit, with chaos stemming from their day-to-day lives. Bob is a hard-working, perpetually stressed burger joint owner who just wants to get by. His quirky and upbeat wife, Linda, is the show's musical heart, often breaking into songs. The kids, Tina, with her awkward obsession with butts, Jean, the carefree and musical middle child, and Louise, the mischievous mastermind, create hilarious situations simply by being themselves. Their struggles are small-scale and incredibly relatable, focusing on the simple, awkward moments that make up life. The humor, satire versus situational comedy. The style of humor in each show is arguably the biggest difference between them. The Simpsons is a master of satire and political commentary. Its humor is often big, bold, and topical. The show isn't afraid to take on major world events, pop culture trends, and political figures. Its jokes are fast-paced, full of quick cuts and references that reward an attentive viewer. This over-the-top, satirical style is what has allowed it to remain relevant for decades. Bob's Burgers is a different beast entirely. Its comedy is grounded in awkward, often cringeworthy, but always hilarious situations. The humor comes from clever one-liners, weird character quirks, and the genuine, loving interactions between the Belcher family members. It's less about a commentary on the outside world, and more about finding the comedy in everyday struggles, like a failed business plan or an embarrassing school project. The Legacy, pop culture landmark versus modern cult classic. Both series have left their mark, but in different ways. The Simpsons is an undisputed pop culture legend. Running for over 30 years, it has shaped animated television, inspired countless memes, and become a touchstone of American comedy. Its influence is undeniable, with many of its gags and episodes reaching iconic status. It's not just a TV show, it's a piece of television history. Bob's Burgers is a younger show, but it has quickly carved out a dedicated, loyal fan base. It has won multiple Emmy Awards, released a feature film, and inspired merchandise that speaks directly to its quirky and creative spirit. Its humor and heartwarming family dynamics resonate deeply with a modern audience, making it a cult classic that continues to grow in popularity. Final verdict. Ultimately, the winner of this animated battle depends on your sense of humor. The Simpsons is the undisputed champion of over-the-top satire and pop culture commentary, a timeless classic that has stood the test of time. Bob's Burgers is a fresher, more grounded show that wins with its quirky, relatable, and genuinely heartwarming family humor. So who are you rooting for? Are you on Team Simpsons or Team Bob's Burgers?
Hey Burgerverse Squad, did you catch the season finale Insane Flex but missed some hilarious and sneaky details? No worries, we're breaking down 10 hidden things you missed in Insane Flex right now. Let's dig in. Hidden Details Breakdown. 1. Burger of the Day Chalkboard. Look closely at the chalkboard and you'll find the Burger of the Day, a pun that has nothing to do with sleep but everything to do with Bob's classic sense of humor. The Don't Get Eaten by a Béarnaise burger comes with Béarnaise sauce. 2. Gene's B-plot. Gene's hilarious pop culture reference in this episode isn't a lullaby. It's his idea for a new rap group. He wants to start a boy band/rap group called Insane Clones, complete with their own workout routine, which fits the gym theme perfectly. 3. Tina's Doodles. When Tina is looking through her school books, her doodles are on brand with her unique personality. She draws a rather suggestive, self-satisfied superhero named Captain Jackoff, a blink-and-you-miss-it gag that really shows her bizarre imagination. 4. Neighboring Sign Gag. The shop next door to the gym is another classic gag. While the Insane Flex gym itself is the main plot device, look at the storefront next to it. It's the recurring gag store, Nuts for You, a subtle callback to a beloved recurring background detail. 5. Louise's quip. Leave it to Louise to have a perfectly timed, sneaky line. When the family first joins the gym, Louise casually refers to the kids' class and quips. This feels less like a class and more like an experiment. A joke that feels like a throwback to her many schemes. 6. Subtle sound effect. As Bob descends further into his sleep-deprived mania, pay attention to the soundscape. The episode uses the repetitive sounds of the gym, the rhythmic clang of weights and the whir of the treadmill to represent his obsession. It's a subtle auditory cue that builds his character's distress. 7. Background character Easter egg. This episode features a cameo from one of the kids' favorite recurring friends, regular-sized Rudy. He appears in the kids' exercise class, looking just as nervous and a little anxious as usual. 8. Thematic ending. The final shot doesn't subvert a Season 1 moment, but it perfectly summarizes the episode's emotional arc. The final shot is Bob, finally asleep, with a subtle smile on his face as he dreams of exercising. It's a bittersweet, funny, and perfect end to his ordeal. 9. Bob's hallucinations. In his sleep-deprived state, Bob's hallucinations aren't just distorted images of his family. He hallucinates that the gym equipment itself is judging him, with the dumbbells and treadmills mocking his every move. 10. Mort's surprise role. It's an easily missed detail, but Mort plays a crucial role in Bob's final descent into exhaustion. He's the one who tells Bob that he looks like a ghost. It's a small line from a supporting character that perfectly encapsulates Bob's haggard appearance. Alright, which detail blew your mind most? Comment below, and let us know if you caught something we missed. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Burgerverse for more Bob's Burgers breakdowns every single week. Welcome back to Burgerverse, your daily dose of Bob's Burgers fun. If you love the Belchers as much as we do, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the laughs. Welcome back to Burgerverse, your daily dose of Bob's Burgers fun. If you love the Belchers as much as we do, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the laughs. Ever thought a simple Saturday adventure could turn into a survival mission thanks to one very angry guard dog? That's exactly what happens in Bob's Burgers, the Dead Bo ATS Society. And honestly, this episode is packed with comedy gold. Let's break it down. The Scrapyard shenanigans. The Belcher kids, Tina, Jean, and Louise, create their own little club called the Saturday Morning Action Kids. Their idea of fun? Sneaking into a scrapyard full of abandoned boats. Everything's going great until, boom, a giant guard dog appears. And from here, chaos officially begins. Gene's ham pocket fail. Now, Gene being Gene, he claims he's got the perfect distraction. His famous ham pocket. He reaches into his pocket, and yeah, no ham. Louise immediately roasts him, and honestly, it's peak Belcher sibling comedy. I mean, only Gene could forget the one thing his whole plan depends on. The tongs plan. But does that stop him? Of course not. Plan B. He grabs a pair of tongs and starts clacking them together like he's auditioning for a cooking show. The dog just stares, completely unimpressed, while Louise sighs and basically says, "Great, now the dog thinks we're serving appetizers." It's such a ridiculous moment you can't help but laugh. The Great Escape. Finally, they find an old crowbar lying around. And in true Belcher fashion, they manage a last-second escape, literally at 10:59 a.m. That's important, because Bob and Linda had bet they wouldn't make it back on time. So not only did they survive a guard dog, they also kept their Saturday morning bragging rights. That's multitasking. Teddy's butterfly meltdown. Meanwhile, back at the restaurant, Teddy has his own little crisis. He brings a butterfly kit and spends the whole day waiting for his caterpillars to transform. But the second he steps away, they hatch. When he returns, he dramatically sighs, "I missed my baby's first steps." Classic Teddy. Somehow sweet, sad, and hilarious all at once. Why we love this episode. And that's the beauty of this episode. The kids turn junkyard chaos into a comedy show, while Teddy proves he's still the most lovable disaster in Bob's Burgers. It's fun, it's quirky, and it's exactly why we keep watching the Belchers week after week. So, what had you laughing harder? Gene's missing ham pocket or Teddy's butterfly meltdown? Drop your pick in the comments, and if you want more Bob's Burgers breakdowns, hit that like button and subscribe for weekly laughs. Trust me, there's always more chaos cooking. Thanks for hanging out in Burgerverse. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Bob's Burgers adventure.